failing, I suppose, the fear of failing keeps me awake at night wondering whether I've done something wrong or right that day, and that's quite scary. At the same time, I want to be making their childhood perfect and happy, but I'm also worried that I'm going to make it sad too.
Not everyone that becomes a young carer are able to use what they have and change it for good. Sometimes you kind of feel like you have no life.
I'm worried that they're going to look back and think, oh, my mum was ill, or my mum wasn't a good parent. And I want them to think, if they don't think I'm a good parent, I want them to think I wasn't a good parent because I'm ill, not because I was just a bad parent. I want them to know that I tried really hard.
I was more or less an adult at home, and I had to grow up real quick. It was really challenging because I knew that at home there was stuff going on. So no matter how hard I tried to cover it up, I was still going through stuff that I couldn't tell a lot of people about.
What's Sophie doing here again?
Hiya. Hiya. Hiya.
Hello. Mama.
Alright. Yeah. Donala. I let you go because I got some
I'm
story.
Aimee, I am 23 and I'm studying criminology. I have 2 children, both boys. One is almost 4, he's 4 next month. And I have Harrison, who is the youngest, and he's 1.5. I sat here doing my last breastfeed with Harrison in February because I had to start taking medication which you couldn't take while you were breastfeeding. I took a picture of myself, but I was just crying. It was really heartbreaking, to be honest. It wasn't a fond memory, it was a bad one, sorry, wrong one. But it was a decision that had to be made. I was prescribed the medication in July, and I kept saying, I'll stop breastfeeding. But I was so worried if I stopped that my bond with him would be worse, and that the postnatal depression would come to the forefront instead of the agitated depression or the post-traumatic stress disorder. I dread to think what I would be like if I was unwell and had no children. If I had no children, I think my life would be a lot different, a lot more difficult, and probably have a lot less meaning in it. I have PTSD, PND, and I've forgotten my own acronyms now. Agitated depression, which is not the typical type of depression you hear about. Trains are obviously a really integral part of my day-to-day life with uni, a really essential part of me getting there and studying. And all of a sudden, as soon as a train would pull in, I'd want to jump in front of it. The urge to do it was becoming more and more overwhelming. I felt the uni didn't understand that when I give them a doctor's note, which I had to pay £30 for, which on a student mother's budget is a lot, that should be taken as it. That should be, okay, you have these issues, that's it. If I went to them with a broken arm, for example, and said, I can't write my exam because my hand is broken or my arm or whatever, they'd say, yeah, okay, fine, extension, signed off like that. And I feel like they're treating mental illness, because you can't see it, as different than a physical illness. And not only have I got to look after myself and my education, I have to make sure that my children's welfare is met as well. And I feel like that's not been considered. Don't know what I'd do without my friends. Like, they've all kind of stepped up and they've all grown up with us. I had a hospital appointment with my mental health consultant. She was like, I'll take you. I'm not getting dressed though. So we just got in the car and she was in her pyjamas, and then you came back here and got dressed.
I just sat in the car park in my pyjamas.
In her pyjamas, and just waited for me to come out of the appointment, but it was ages because we were in there for ages. Yeah, you're helpful with things like that. If I need to go somewhere, 9 times out of 10, you'll be like, I can come.
Obviously, you're going through awful things, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And that's why I like to be there for you and everything. But there's people who have these issues, and they are nowhere near and close in life as successful as you. And you may not see it as being successful, but you've got 2 beautiful children and you've got a loving partner,
Yeah.
and you're doing your university course against every single odd, and you're doing so incredibly well, and you make me so proud as a friend, you just don't even know.
If I want to be by myself, this is definitely somewhere that I would come to. Yeah. I actually quit my job after university and then started campaigning full time for like 7 months. Like, I did all my research with like on mental health, and I went to different conferences and stuff like that as well, but I still felt like it wasn't enough. It actually got me angry, which is not something that someone would say typically, but I just felt like people or professionals were doing it for money, whereas there's actually people that are dying or committing suicide because of mental health. My name's Angela. I'm 23 years old, and I was a young carer for a family member with paranoid schizophrenia. When I found out that my family member had paranoid schizophrenia, I didn't know how to take it. I kind of felt like how do I handle it? And to be fair, growing up, I would say that I was quite depressed anyway. I had suicidal thoughts as well, and suffered a lot from anxiety. I just never had the guts, or didn't know I could go to a GP for that. So finding out was even more of a challenge, because it's like, how do I look after myself but also look after my family, knowing that I was like the eldest sibling. But then going to university, I realised that in fact I kind of do want to be back at home, because if I'm being told things are happening at home, I can't exactly like walk out my lecture and go to, like, I still have a course that I need to finish. So it took a bigger toll on me in terms of I was more depressed because I didn't know how to handle it. But at the same time, it was very easy for me to cover it up because I'm in my room, so no one will know or have to know what's happening. When I decided that my family member should go into hospital, I think that's when it was the most like prominent. Like, it was every day I felt like guilty. I always felt guilty, and I just felt like I don't want them to find out that it was me, because how would they react? Maybe they would hate me and just hate me, and I didn't want that burden. When things were overwhelming and I got really emotional, I always thought, oh, what's the next thing that I can do to hurt myself? I would think if I just jumped, that would be it. Or if I just cut myself and cut the wrong place, then that would be it. And I'd be gone, no one would have to think about me or have to worry about me anymore, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything either, so yeah. I wanted to retake the year, but now thinking about it, I'm like, I'm quite glad that I finished university, so yeah. So whenever I feel down, I always try and remember what happened in the past and how far that I've come. So I think now I've, to some extent accepted and accepted that this is what happened. But now I'm using it to like push me to do more and to aspire to do more, because now I know that the world is my oyster, so I can pretty much do whatever I want. Yeah.